Hello, everybody. My name is Lakshya Garg. You can call me Laksh, and welcome to the Laksh Show. Today, I'll be interviewing Mr. Anurag, CEO of Andersen UAE.
Hi, Laksh. Thank you so much for having me on the show, and I'm really looking forward to listen to your questions and what's in kitty for me.
So, before I get into the spicy stuff, what's your biggest source of inspiration before you started your business?
So, very important thing, very important question that you ask about, inspiration. I remember my early days when I was like, just a nascent stage, beginning my career, and there was a lot of people who were guiding me. They were my mentors out there. So very early stage, I learned that I should not forget those people who were there with me when I was nothing. So my source of inspiration are those who really helped me out to nurture my career ahead. My parents, my friends, my seniors, my teachers. Yeah.
Well, that's a great answer from you. Also, what's your favorite books you must suggest to all of the audiences?
So there are a number of books. I said essentially when we were in the school, I just want to tell you a little bit story about it. So I tell you, like, when I was studying out there, we didn't have that luxury. I mean, we went to the school where there was no roof. For us, the roof was all the beds under the sun, or probably the carpets under the skies. And we were surrounded by trees, and all the teachers were teaching out there just on the biography fronts. So today, in a very nascent world today, and world of millennials, what we see that today's IB curriculum, UK curriculum, American curriculum, and so on and so forth. Right? In our time, there was stories, and I say that if you really wanted to learn a real thing in the world, I think one need to imbibe the culture of learning from the people's practical experiences. So the very first book I should say that to everyone, that follow your parents. Look what your parents do for you. That's the first learning that one should have. The second thing is that learn from your teachers. The teachers who are guiding you and showing you the way towards your destination and destiny. The third thing is that your peers who are doing wonderful out there. So at early stage, if you try to imbibe and take inspiration from the people around you, I think that's best. Besides that, if you look into the books out there, there are a number of books that you can see that, like, for example, my one of the favorite book is Alchemist. So Alchemist is a book where a person wanted to find a treasure, and he means the treasure initial stage is about the gold, the diamonds, the money. But as soon as he gets into the journey and goes towards finding the treasure, he realizes the treasure is nothing but an experience. Right?
Yeah.
So the book can be many, but my answer to you and to all the millennials, that your book at the early stage is the people around you.
Wow. So, another question relating to that. What is your, influence to the younger generation, which is right now?
Well, I say that youngsters at this point in time, they're very tech savvy, and what's happening for them, what they see around them, they find that this is a realistic world.
Yeah.
Right? And all what they don't realize that, and they are not able to clarify their doubts what they really want to be.
Yeah.
So many time people are not clear as to what career path I need to follow. So I will say to all the millennials like yours is that first of all, identify what you really wanted to do,
Yeah.
and basis that you can choose the path to follow.
Yeah. Since most kids, these days, they don't really know what to become. So, yeah, that's great advice from you. So, now let's get into questions about your company, Andersen UAE. So, can you just give a quick explanation on what Andersen UAE is about?
So Andersen is a multinational consulting firm which operates in 176 countries with over 40 offices worldwide. And what we do is tax and legal. So when you grow up and you get into business, you realize that two very important words, which is tax and legal, that defines the entire equilibrium within and outside the business forum, right? And these are the two critical elements which expose you to a greater risk of non-compliances with legislation. And these are the two tools which you can essentially use to safeguard your business and prosper it further. So what we do that, we advise businesses all around the world to safeguard from tax exposures and tax risks. How you protect your business from threats like legal, and that's what we do.
Hmm. So another question I have is, what unique and different diversities in your company make your company special?
A very important question. I think at the very early stage when we're starting up the business, we realize what really matters to the people.
Hmm.
So I think everybody around us look for help when they have problems around them, right? So
Right.
what people expect is a person which brings out solution in a crystal clear way. So like we have in conversation, what you really expect me to answer the question in a very precise clarity. But if I do an answer with a lot of molded switches around it and try to confuse you, that's what happened in the real world. So our specialty is that when we talk to the people, when we go out to the businesses, we talk with the 100% clarity in the manner that you understand.
Yeah.
I think that's a unique blend that we have. The other part is that within our organization, we are our inclusive culture, where we have equality within the gender, and we give merits to the potential that an individual has. So it's not like you are 10 years senior and you are 5 years junior. A 5-year experienced person can have a better knowledge and better strength and capabilities than a person which is 10 years old. So we don't look into the experience that how many years have you worked. We look into that how much strength and clarity of thought that you have towards finding a solution to a genuine problem.
Understand. May you share some achievements that Andersen UAE has gotten in the past few years now to our audience?
There's a number of credentials that we have. So last year we have been nominated as ITR. So there's an ITR review that happens out there, which is tax review that happens globally, and within the Middle East region, myself and one of my colleagues have been nominated as one of the best tax professional in the region. So that is one. The second thing is that over past 2 to 3 years, we have been grown our strength every year double digits. We have grown our client count as well. We are into diversified field. We are into diversified industries. And I think we are one of the largest and growing firm within the region out here.
Yeah. Okay, so how about your advice for kids or people who are starting now to become the same topic as you? Because I've heard about your story on how you were doing such a basic thing like riding a cycle, and that led to the idea of starting the company. So how can you give that advice to another person?
Yeah, very well thought question, and I think I'll be more than happy to share a perspective to this. I started business very late. I'll say that in my mid-30s I started. I wish I could have started when I was 20s, in my 20s. The reason why I couldn't start because I didn't have somebody who can really channelize my energy. I was very enthusiastic, very energetic guy, as you know me, right?
Yeah.
But at that stage, there was nobody to guide me that, how to channelize this entire energy. What do you need to do that? I was very afraid in initial stage to take challenges, assume risk, because I was worried about future. Unknowing the fact that at early stage, I had no responsibility. There was nothing to lose for me. Every single thing was there to gain, which I didn't know at that stage. I wish I could know that when I was in my 20s.
So you're suggesting that people who are in their 20s or they're trying to start a business but they're scared that it might fail, they should risk it since they have nothing to lose at that age?
Absolutely. In your 20s, you should experiment as much as you can do. If you fail, there are two things that happens. When you fail out there, you don't lose anything, but you learn not to repeat that mistake again. Right? And when you go again next time, you're well prepared. You lose second time, you are more well prepared to face another challenge in third stage. So it's very, very important for you to fail in early stage so that you prepare for the future. Like, for example, when you're a kid, like your stage, if you fall down, what happens to you? You get bruises, but those bruises get fixed so quickly.
Yeah.
But if I fell down, what will happen? My bone will break and may not be fixed again. Right? So the early stage, more failures, more prepared you are and more ready to combat any situation at later stage. So my advice to all the millennials at your stage that, don't afraid to fail, because failure is nothing but another opportunity to learn something extraordinary. And if you start early, no responsibility, no risk, all there to gain. That's what I'll say that.
Wow, that's some great advice. Now, how do you think Andersen UAE was affected by COVID-19?
Well, COVID was an opportunity for most of the businesses. Essentially, the consulting business. What was happening that people were sitting at home. They were not able to go to office. We all were sitting at home, and there was a resource crunch. So when you have people working diversified things out there, all of a sudden a new business model that have erupted out of COVID-19. So people were trying to figure out how to adjust the risk that is exposed around their business, right? And when the COVID-19 came out there, we were well prepared. Our team was there, and they were able to serve more than one client at a one time. So that really boosted our business significantly higher than what we could have achieved apart from COVID. So I think it was a blessing, and more so that we were able to serve our community as well. I remember during the COVID time when people were afraid to touch the people,
Yeah.
touch the vegetables. They were not getting things out and out. In those days, we were privileged, and I was privileged as amongst one of many people out there who served the community at large by giving them COVID vaccination. So I was a volunteer, and I remember in those days we have met over 20,000 people, giving them vaccinations. So that was incredible for me. I mean, it gives me opportunity to serve the fraternity, serve the society, while having my bit of time free. So I think I found that I've been very blessed.
Yeah. So you think COVID is a benefit for you and your company?
Yes.
Interesting.
It's like a very important thing. You can be in difficult situation at any point in time.
Yeah.
All what you need to do that how to find that situation and trying to make that situation advantageous for you by working around the corner. So people can make any situation to their advantage should they wish to do that, I say.
Okay. So since you're such a young CEO, how do you unwind yourself every day after work? Since it must be hard to, become a CEO of such a big company.
I don't think so, because today a lot of millennials are they're going to start their startups, and one thing that keep every CEO towards and closer to their ambition, their aim, is their passion. If you make your work as your passion, which means if you love what you do or you do what you love, I think there's a kind of synergy, and that synergy drives you towards achieving more and more. So for me, my work is my passion. I think this is what I really enjoy doing it.
Like a hobby.
Exactly. It's just like music in my ears all the time. When I'm getting to business, when I'm talking to clients, it's like music to my ear, and I really enjoy having that conversation. So I think my advice to a lot of people is that try to do something which you really love. Then there'll no difference between work-life balance. You are always balanced because you are doing what you really love.
Yeah. Same thing here.
Absolutely.
So what about what's your business strategy for Andersen?
Good thought. In fact, this afternoon I was talking about this strategy. So let me give you a story. At any point in time when you're getting in to start something, you always wonder that there's so many people out there in the market. How will I start? Because you are going to start where the people have already excelled in that particular field. So what your strategy should ideally be? What you'll be thinking? You'll be thinking that I should do something extraordinary to cross these people in a shortened span of time. And to do so, you need to do something extraordinary which you can think that as simple as that, how do I penetrate more client in a very short span of time?
Yeah.
How do I know people in a shortened span of time? And how do I make an interaction with somebody that they like what I say? So in the client service, essentially what it means that in business, it's only one formula that works towards your strategy is that do you know what somebody want? And do you have a superficial, or you can say the most satisfying way to answer the query in a more robust and simplified manner so that you like it?
Yeah.
That's what the strategy is. So you do what somebody like it.
So basically, making the strategy in Andersen is making somebody feel more comfortable working in it, making it easier in their demand.
Absolutely. Because this is what the whole crux is. In today's world, people, I mean, you find a friend when he talks your language, right? And when you find a friend in someone, you go a long way. That's how the business is all about.
Yeah.
Business is all about comfort, that I get it with somebody.
Well, okay, that's also really nice. So also, what's the biggest, like, when you first started, how many different types of fails did you have? Since I understand you must have failed a lot, because it's not possible for a business to start perfect. No,
Absolutely.
nothing's perfect.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll share you the story. So, I was very, very established professional in the region out here. And one fine day, I was speaking at a forum and somebody said, why don't you do something extraordinary? Because there's something bigger awaiting for you. A piece of advice from a very learned professional. And I took that seriously. And I started a business. When you start a business, it's very different.
Yeah.
You start a clean slate. I'm sitting in office. Now, what is the next step that I need to do? I don't know. And then comes an opportunity to me that, look, you need to manage a business which is, big in size, and you're one single person. And I was afraid that if I get into and I take this particular business, I'll become one of the employee of the business and I'll not be able to grow. So what I said that, let me say no to this business.
So you declined your first
I
offer.
declined the business and I took a business which was very much smaller, which I can serve really well. Right? But when I signed a contract, there was a certain conditions linked with my previous employment. So my first business, when I signed it up, I have to leave that business because there are certain conditions linked with it.
Yeah.
So I again come back to square zero. I signed second business. There was certain issues out there. Somebody competed at a lower price. I have to lose this business again. I hired some employee at that stage. That employee also left just in a month's time. So again, there was a lot of setbacks every now and then, and I was trying to learn how to do business. But as I said to you, when you are passionate about something extraordinary, really, really you wanted to do, you find people. And then comes in one of my companion in my business who really stood by me, who really imbibed the vision that I had. And together, we grown from 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, and 16 to 30, 30 to 60, 62, so on. So that becomes, that's how the journey becomes. So you need not to lose the hope. When there are setbacks are there to train you to do the business. Yeah.
I see. So speaking of which, you are a really big company. Like your company exceeds in certain many different levels. I've read a lot about how Andersen started failing midway and it managed to rise up. What's your comment on that?
Well, every organization has certain path to follow. There are always times that you have dips. In service industry, what happens today you're working with somebody. Maybe there are certain circumstances prevail in industry and that client has to go, right? Maybe there are certain other matters because of which there are certain key people you lose, right? And the real business strength is how you combat with that. How do you have the second plan to continue to grow at certain stage, right? That could be as simple as that, expanding into different regions, expanding into different services, hiring a different talent source, finding out different mechanism to offer certain things. Yeah, so there are multiple ways. I believe, when organization goes through a journey, there are ups and downs, but all what matters is that how prepared are you to combat those situations.
Okay, I see. How do you think Andersen competes against the other tax or financially related companies to that? Like, how do you think they beat you or you beat them?
Well, situations are always there mixed. Like some point in time you win, some point in time you lose. But what really comes out there when we go into the market, we realize what is the ideal mix that people need? So, at the beginning of our podcast, we discussed about two words, that's tax and legal. Well, if you see that every business, when they grow, they pay taxes. And the requirement is that how to minimize these taxes. Okay? And at the same time, when the business grows, there are a lot of employees are there are a lot of contractors, there are a lot of suppliers, customers, right? So when you grow the bigger risk of legal comes in picture. That there may be litigations, there may be cases against you, you're not getting paid, you make you suing somebody out there, somebody else suing you, and so on and so forth, right? So what we did is, as a different product, we try to combine these two together. So a lot of people, they do tax, but they don't do legal. And there's a lot of lawyers who do law, but they don't do taxes. So we brought out the very unique blend for people to come in that particular space. But now one question that I have, what's your path? What is that something that drives you?
What drives me to exceed in what? That's
In your academics, in your career ahead, what really drives you nowadays? What is in your mind?
okay, so that's a really good question. So I believe that even at my young age, I'm able to exceed in certain things as long as I put in my heart in it. Because I'm a lucky kid, to be interviewing such a big person or be living in such a good house. But I managed to, abuse that reason and get more and with my thirst of learning and, getting better at certain things like math, basketball, sports, all that stuff. Because I believe that even if I'm not a kid who started from square zero, I'm still able to become a kid that started from square 10 and was able to exceed to square 100.
But a lot of kids at your age, they are into the gaming.
Yeah.
They play a lot of games. Or probably, they are into mobile. If they have mobiles, so they are watching a lot of, Netflix, they are into YouTubes and things like that. How come you're leaving these Netflix, YouTubes and games and here sitting with me and, having a conversation out there? What really drives you there?
Because, it's a waste of life. You're not, when you're a kid, you're supposed to have a fun childhood. You're supposed to have, good times. Back in your day, I'm guessing, after school, go straight to the park, play with cricket, friends, That was a lot. That's why I also really liked that time. But nowadays, usually nobody shows up because everyone's at their house. So I truly believe that, yes, I even play games, but I don't play games a lot. I play games for a certain limit and restrictions, and I limit myself. My parents don't limit me. Because,
Wow.
It's better. I started off with my parents teaching me that, and then I'm here being 5 years older than how I was before. But kids nowadays, they get really spoiled because how much, things exist in this world. Because I really wish I lived back 20 years ago in the last generation because of how, kids want something when you see something. You get it? Imagine you see somebody with an iPhone 13 or iPhone 15. So you're going to want that because you see it. If that never existed, you would never think of it.
Absolutely.
It's a benefit for you because you would focus on other things.
Yeah, I think that's you very rightly said. Often I see that one image that erupt out of nowhere is that when I see the kids along with the gadgets, I see that they get sucked into that device. And when they're sucked into device, they're sitting in a dark room. Imagine that there's nobody around you. It's only that device and you that having a conversation, and the room is just empty. There's nothing movements, nothing happening. And the kid is sitting out there in that particular room, dark, just imagining within the cartoons and within that content. And he's unfamiliar with the realistic world which exists outside, where the birds are singing, and where there's a lot of noise coming out of trees. The wind is blowing, the mind is coming down, the people are playing games, you're running, your energy is burning, and so on and so forth happening around. And besides doing that, you're just sucked into one device. So I think it's very important advice that you give it to people and your age, that you should limit. And it's not that parents limit you. You should start limiting yourself. Very well thought, Laksh. And I really really wish you a real great luck, and I wish that you continue to imbibe the same energy and same ethos to meet great people, learn great experiences, and make your life more purposeful.
Yeah, because I read sometimes. I'm not a perfect soul. I play games. I watch YouTube, but I choose not to do that much. But I read the newspaper sometimes. I see, oh, RTA is going in for stocks. Oh, this is going for that. Sometimes I think of that and I ask my parents, like, explain this like, to that. My dad, who's into finance, was really helping me. So I know a lot about finance related to that. But after closing off this, looking ahead, what are the major next goals for Andersen UAE? And will AI be involved in this?
I think I think realistically, no organization can stay away from artificial intelligence and robotics. So, like any other industry which is evolving around the tech, so is the tax world as well. We are working on a lot of generative AI driven solutions which can help people to understand a tax in a very simplified manner. So today you need to call me to understand certain implications about the tax. What if 2 years down the line, all what you want is you are sucked into the tab and device out there. All you want to ask about, hey Siri, or hey tax guys, give me an answer about my situation and how should this particular transaction impact me from a tax perspective. So as simple as a generative AI, we are working on that generative AI to offer solutions. Yeah.
Because most companies nowadays, they've been focusing on putting AI into everything. Almost, for example, NVIDIA, they're trying to make their graphics drivers into just AI, programmed into that. And AI is not, it's basically, since I do professional coding, I know how to do that. AI is a manufactured database that you can, there's several different AIs. You can add AI chatbot, AI voice note, AI image director, all of that douche stuff. But AI can be just created with just having a sample. Like, somebody could become a millionaire if they just got a sample of Chat GPT, which it's not out, by the way, because who would do that? And then just put it there and change it and rename it.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
Absolutely. I think without AI, people will not survive out there in organization. If they wanted to grow with ambitions, I think they need to adopt artificial intelligence in their offerings to continue to combat the challenges exposed by tech and continue to grow.
Yeah. Something else I want to say before we end, I think that, because look around, like, for example, go to India. India, most of the kids don't have stuff they want. But look here now, like the president of England, he's Indian. But read his story, he wasn't born with privileges. Look at another CEO, I'm pretty sure the old CEO of Microsoft. He was Indian, but he managed to succeed and grow.
I think you rightly touched base there. I believe the gadgets, the facilities, the advantages that you're born with are not the one that decides how you're going to excel in your career. I think what really matters is the value that you carry along with. The early you understand your opportunities, I think that's what defines the path you're going to follow.
Yeah.
That's what I want to really advise to millennials, that don't look around for advantages, that what advantages that others have you don't have. Look into the strength that you have others don't have, and work on those strengths to sharpen them more and more so that you can excel in the career and the field that you really want it to be.
Well, that's great. Anyways, thank you for being here with me today, Mr. Anurag. I really appreciate your attendance.
Thank you so much, Laksh, for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Bye.